just for those of you who are listening or watching, a good director will move all the screaming and dying to the end of the session. But if not, please ask them to move it to the end of the session to save your voice.
Now we did. By the way, that became mandated when I was on the interactive committee, and I headed up the interactive committee of Screen Actors Guild when it used to be Screen Actors Guild before it turned into this ugly SAG-AFTRA mess.
I'm getting to that.
That's what I mandated. We fought for that. We fought for less hours. It used to be 8 hours. We fought for 4 hours.
I personally appreciate that. I personally appreciate that.
And we fought for a voice that the agent must be told by the producer, is there a lot of screaming, and screaming will be done at the end of the session. And if you did a lot of screaming, if you had the clout and they really wanted you asked for a double session fee, either double or triple, because you knew you couldn't work the next couple of days afterwards, especially if you were a working actor.
Exactly.
And you needed to do voiceover and promo work. You couldn't, because you wound up sounding like, I'm a little old, but you wound up sounding like Aldo Ray. You went out for the next couple of days, you were like this, because you did all that screaming. So you lost work.
So you said in another interview that you were into comics as a kid and you were familiar with the characters on Super Friends before you actually worked on the show. Were there other shows that you were familiar with the characters or the series before you actually worked on it?
Yeah, I was very familiar with Plastic Man. I loved the Plastic Man series. So when I got Plastic Man, I was absolutely elated. Yeah, I got an opportunity to do that. That was great fun. Interesting, you talked about people replacing you. I was told, I didn't know, but I was told over 2 years ago they did a Plastic Man special or something, and nobody called me, and they got, oh God, his name just went out of my head. The guy who does SpongeBob.
Tom
They called him in. Yeah, Tom. They got Tom to do Plastic Man. Nobody called me and said, "Do you want to give it a shot?" I had no idea. I don't know what it sounded like.
There's these short 1-minute cartoons in between commercial breaks. So.
I see, interstitials. Okay.
Yeah, they're really, really, really short, and there's not very much talking in them, to be honest. It's just a lot of noises mostly.
Well, that's really interesting. Now, they should have called me, for God's sake.
I know.
All they called Tom for it. They should have called me. See, what was the purpose of calling Tom? Because he did the voice of SpongeBob? It probably sounds nothing like SpongeBob.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I didn't have it written down, but I was going to ask that it seems to be there's always this small inner group of cartoon voice actors that everybody always hires. John DiMaggio, Tara Strong, Kevin Michael Richardson, Tom Kenny. And it used to be it was the Peter Cohen, Frank Welker, Michael Bell, and has it expanded, or is it still pretty much the same as it always was?
No, I think it expanded. You still find those people. They're all young people. I mean, Tara's quite young, and she has quite a bit of juice left in her.
Yeah.
And Kat Soucy is still around. Kat is wonderful.
And she started young, too.
Yeah, and they started young. I mean, a lot of these people started young. And Jason Marsden is wonderful. And, as you know, he did G.I. Joe.
Right.
But I don't think some of the people have specific sounds that they need. Kevin Michael Richardson is brilliant. He's just wonderful to work with. He brings so much class to a show. He's wonderful.
He's a really nice guy too.
Yeah, he really is super. And there are some really super talented people out there. I think they're bringing back Ren and Stimpy with
Billy West.
With Billy's going to come back with Ren and Stimpy again, which is great. Bravo. And he's marvelous. He's an enormous talent. And Corey Burton's a wonderful talent. And you mentioned Jeff. Jeff is excellent. Jeff Arnett. He's wonderful. These people are great. And there's some new people coming up. There's an actress who's just risen on the horizon named Laurie Treitel. She had been knocking her head off, knocking around, and finally, boom, she connected, and she's really good. I suspect she wind up being the next Tress MacNeille.
That's great.
It takes its time.
Yeah.
It takes time to break into that.
Yeah, I'm still banging my head against the wall trying to get in an animated series. So I know. I know.
That's how it's like. Yeah. There is David Soboleff is sensational. It took him a while to break in. Yeah. He was busting his chops for a long time, even with his voice.
And he also does demo production. Were there any characters that you thought should have been voiced another way, but you were directed differently by the producers?
You know, I'm sure I did at the time. I'm sure I disagreed quietly or expressed myself to some degree and either got my way or didn't. But no main characters. There are no main characters that I have done that I felt should be expressed any other way.
Did anything interesting ever happen during sessions back in those days, such as Frank Welker's infamous pranks or anything like that?
Well, we did stuff, but I can't recall that kind of thing. We used to play and fool around, and I'm sure that there are outtakes somewhere that will destroy all of us eventually. But I can't think of anything offhand. It wasn't as if you were doing it on camera, where a lot of stuff would happen, and you eventually would have outtakes and silliness. But in terms of EO, it was just a great deal of fun playing.
Oh, yes. This is just one I'm just going to throw out there. Hero or villain, what would you prefer? I think I know the answer, though.
Hero or villain?
Yes, for a voice actor, what kind of character would you rather play, a hero or a villain?
Well, it's hard to say. I would rather play a villain. I think most of us would rather
yeah.
play villains. Yeah, I think most of us, it's just so much fun you can give vent to all that craziness. I don't differentiate. Heroes are easier because you don't have to strain yourself. You don't have to work on a particular voice or something. Like my playing Drew for Rugrats is easy because it's me. It's just my voice. I don't have to do anything. Yet playing jazz or Grandpa Boris is so much more fun because I get to employ another part of me, another facet of my personality, and that's really fun.
Speaking of heroes, what were your feelings returning to the G.I. Joe franchise after all these years to play Duke's father?
It was old home week. It's kind of like, you can imagine. Here you walk in, and it was somewhat bittersweet. I loved being called in. I loved the idea that I had the opportunity. I mean, it was a little strange to play the father of young Duke, but of course I really like Jason Marsden.
I was going to say you directed him on Peter Pan. Was it different working with him together? As there is?
Yeah, I know, he was great. He was a young kid. He was excited. It was all really delicious. Everybody working together, having Tim Curry as Captain Hook.
Love Tim Curry.
And a sensational group of actors. I think Tony Jay was in the damn thing, and there were a whole slew of wonderful young actors at the time, and then older actors, and we were all in one room, and we did it over, I think it was Buzzy's studio, and in L.A., and I mean, we just packed them into the room, and I was both a border guard and director because we had a lot of kids, a lot of energy. I said, okay, get out of the room. Okay, all you guys back in there. Get 6 kids in there, and then the adults, and everybody shut up. It was just great fun. Everybody just giggling and laughing and playing. It was just sensational. It was a wonderful time. Really a wonderful
I imagine he had trouble not smiling while you were playing his dad. Mr. Marsden.
Oh yeah, well yeah, we both laughed about it, and it was kind of a kick for me coming in, also for B.J. Ward to play my wife.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what was it like reuniting with B.J. after all this time?
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool, and it was done so well. I'm very surprised. It was a very well-written show. I thought it was really smart, and I couldn't understand why they didn't pick it up.
Yeah, I was disappointed too because I really liked it, and a lot. My wife gets on to me because I still watch cartoons, but from a voice actor, you're studying really. So I really did like it, and even my kids enjoyed it. I was very disappointed that it didn't do better than it did.
I thought it was a blunder. I thought it was a blunder on their behalf, but then those blunders are often made.
Yeah.
I mean, when we did Rugrats, we did it for a couple of years, and they said, okay, that's the end of it. And we went, what? It's such a smash hit. They said, no. I think it was, I forgot, Vanessa Coffey was her name, who was out of Paramount, and said, no, we're going to go on to other things. And audiences, the crowds, residents, people wrote in and all across the United States, and they did a whole thing in TV Guide saying, what the hell are they thinking? They did a whole editorial about how brilliant the show was. And I think Vanessa Coffey was fired, if I recall. And they brought in somebody else, and they brought us back, and the show continued to go, and then went into movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
this question, if this is off limits, then I'll be glad to edit this out. My brother Craig, his name's Craig Crumpton, and my friend and fellow voice actor Daniel Ross had been in contact with you about a Transformers motion comic. Can you tell us about what happened with that project and why it didn't come to fruition?
Oh, yeah, the motion comic. Chris Foligno, who has a new film coming out called Sparks, by the way, which is very, very exciting. wanted to do that, and he put it together, and he did it himself, and he called them, and they said, yeah, just do it. You do it. In other words, we're not going to pay it. You do it. And he said sure, because that was a concept that he had, so I directed it, and I cast some really wonderful actors in it, and we did just a small chunk, and I think it went out on the internet or something like that, just to show everybody what we did, and presented it to them, and they thought it was great, and they said they wanted some more, whatever. I forgot the whole genesis. We went out there, William Catt, myself, and Chris met with them and spent time with them. And the final analysis, to what I can gather, is that Hasbro just didn't want to spend the money.
That's a shame too.
And it was being done. I think Warner's had already started doing it, and I think some other companies started doing it. And when I saw those, theirs wasn't anywhere near as
right.
good.
I've actually Daniel showed me the clip that was online. It's now unlisted where people can't see it, but I was very, very impressed. I was like, wow, this is just barely short of an actual animated series. Yeah,
it was so close, and it was just a matter of paying a few bucks to get it done, and for Hasbro to pay the bucks to get it done, and they became not easy to work with. They became very, very difficult at that point, whoever the people were at Hasbro. And they said, we'll do it in-house. I don't know if they ever did it in-house. I don't have
no, they've the only thing even closely related was some people from the Collectors Club that is not officially Hasbro have contacted me about putting together a motion comic based on the live script readings that were recorded at the convention. So it's not even close to the same thing as what you were doing.
No, it probably isn't. And I got to tell you, Chris really had his handle on it. He really knew how to do that. He knew how to make it work. And it was very, very clever. He had done the motion comic of Sparks, and it didn't take off. And it was quite interesting. It didn't take off, which I also directed, and then he just recently did the film. And he hasn't locked it yet, but it's all done, and he's still doing some editing.
That's a shame.
It's a clever movie, yeah.
I'll give you a chance to vent here. You've mentioned it in passing, but you've been very active regarding the Screen Actors Guild. Of course, you're on the board of directors. And
I was on the
board of directors. What are your opinions about SAG and AFTRA emerging, as you've you stated earlier?
I think it's going to be now. I think it's going to be very, very. My personal feeling. I think it's going to be detrimental to the actors. I think they have over 600 civilians working for them, and the cost factor is prohibitive. The staff, when I say civilians, I mean the staff. Right. The staff are very, very well paid, which is going to cost us a lot of bucks, and they have a better pension and health plan than the actors do. It's better. You are better off working for SAG than you are if you're a SAG actor.
Right.
Quite frankly, and I think it was very imprudent and selfish of people like George Clooney and Alec Baldwin and some of the others and Sally Fields to insist that we should work together when they in fact don't even do AFTRA. They don't have a clue what the hell AFTRA is. Half of them don't know what that is, and they don't work for scale. Right. Actors mostly work for scale, and this is going to be a very ugly situation. And they were in violation. They were in violation of our SAG contract. Our SAG constitution. Right. They did not really do due diligence to find out what would the effect of this merger be if on our pension and health plan. Yep. What will the effect be? And we have spoke with it, and we've met with and paid a fortune for actuarials, have said it's going to absolutely be devastating for people that haven't yet gotten their pension. Yeah. Those of us that have our pension are pretty much solid to a degree. But unless business gets better, and that doesn't mean it will, and that doesn't mean things are going to change very quickly, by the way, because whatever contracts exist will continue to exist until 2014.
Yeah, that would affect me because I just got in SAG in last July, so my pension's probably in danger as well. Will this affect voice actors more or regular actors?
Everybody, absolutely everybody. Everybody, because it's going to be the producer's wet dream. They're going to be able to pick and choose what they want and how they want to do it, and it's going to be ugly. and people are not aware of that. The minute this went through, as you probably are aware, the dues went up.
Yeah, I noticed. I still haven't paid my extra fees. I haven't paid those off yet, waiting for checks to come.
That's right. That's right. And we told them that would happen. We said the minute that would happen, that's exactly what would happen. And people said, no. Now, then, of course, they admitted that it would happen. Yep. And when we pointed out a lot of fallacious information, they would shut us up. They did the best they could to shut us up. And they had stupid people supporting them. They had very wealthy people supporting them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
You had people like Clooney and people like that because it makes it work for them. When we went to Clooney, not me, but those of us that went to Clooney and went to Baldwin and De Niro and and Tom Hanks, for God's sakes, went to them and said, look, please don't stop our fight to get a better deal. We need a better deal. At that time, I think we hadn't yet asked for the right to strike, but the deal was so lousy that we needed a better deal from the producers, and they said no. We're going to go ahead, and we're going to take our ad anyway because we don't care about you.
And they don't need it like we do.
Because we got deals. They got deals coming up. They're producers. They're not actors.
Yeah, they do both.
They're producers.
Exactly
yeah,
right.
Clooney's an actor. Yeah, Tom Hanks is an actor. And yeah, some of these people in Baldwin are. But they're producers. Yeah. So it's about being producers. They want it as easy and as facile as they can possibly get it. That's really what it comes down to. And because they don't, it's not as if they're out to screw the actor. The idea is it's about their companies. And in the final analysis, it will screw the actor. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it was done. The voices spoke. The guild spoke. The members said this is what they wanted, and that's what they're going to get. Listen. You know what I equated to? I equated to what is it? Rick Scott Walker in Wisconsin. Recently, he wound up not getting. They wanted a recall. The public wanted a recall, and they lost him after everything that he's done. And it's to their worst interest. I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel, and a great many of us feel, it's to the worst interest. It's not to the best interest of the members to have had AFTRA and SAG merge. And quite frankly, it was AFTRA's fault, and it was SAG's fault.
Yeah.
At the same
time. Well,
it really was. It was AFTRA's fault.
I'll ask a lighter-hearted question after that one. How long have you been married, and how's your family doing?
God, I've been married for close to 30 years now.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
And, thank you. And my wife is an extraordinary actress, Victoria Carroll.
Is it tough to be married to a voice actor, considering that you don't get a regular weekly, Friday paycheck and clock in, clock out type job?
Well, now, no, it wasn't tough. I was very fortunate, and she had done a lot of voiceover and as well. And we were both very, very fortunate. We were lucky. We were talented, but we were talented at a time when there wasn't a lot of people out there that were doing it or were even interested in doing it. And so we were very, very successful at that. And now that I'm at a point where I've got my pension, got my Social Security and all the good stuff, whatever comes out is just extra work for me. Which is
gotcha.
And my daughter, of course, as you know, is my daughter right
actress.
now is she's in Vancouver. She's doing a film called Marine.
Right.
She's starring in a film called Marine.
And
for the WWE.
For those of you who don't know, my wife's cousin and her best friend are both named Ashley Bell. Yeah, seriously. So that makes 3 Ashley Bells that I know of.
Oh, my God. There's 3 Ashley Bells. Oh, good Lord. Jeez, it's coming out of the woodwork. They're coming out of the woodwork. That's funny. Yeah, Ashley's film The Day is coming out in August, and I think a film called Chasing Shakespeare comes out just after that, which is kind of nice.
Very cool. Very cool. I wish her the best of luck. You mentioned that you do coaching or workshops or seminars. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I teach voice animation. I teach right now. I teach privately, and some people who have done a fair amount of work, and some people who have done just a little bit of work. And I also teach for classes, people that bring me in as a guest for young actors and actresses, and older actors and actresses that want to do it. And I'm planning very, very soon to do a 2-day seminar. I haven't decided on my time
Awesome.
yet,
I would love to go to something like that.
I plan to do a 2-day seminar on that. And also, I teach voice anime for Japanese students that fly in twice a year from various areas of Japan about 100 at a time, and I teach voice animation for them.
Okay. Is there a website or some way for people to find out more about your coaching?
Not just
Okay.
yet. I'm going to be planning something. I want to work with another coach because it's really a lot of work. So I figure if I do the two-day seminar, 5 hours at a time, possibly anywhere between 4 to 5 hours at a time on a Saturday and a Sunday, I wanted to combine the efforts of not just doing voice animation, but I'd like to bring in an actor, a voice actor
Okay.
who will also
Yeah.
work on commercials.
Yeah, I know Pat Fraley, who does jobs. He works with Rob Paulson on some workshops and works with Bill Farmer on others. And Rob Paulson also does private coaching, and so that's great.
Yeah, Rob is doing that now. For a long time, Rob wasn't.
Right.
Now
Yeah, I got to have dinner with him, and we did a little private session not too long ago. So it was a great experience.
Whereabouts do you do it with Rob?
Yeah, he's a great guy, and you definitely get your money's worth.
Where did you do it? Where did you do it with Rob?
We just met out at a really nice hotel, or not hotel, a really nice restaurant that my manager picked out for us, and
but where? It
was in Los Angeles. It was well, it was. I take that back. It was between Los Angeles and his hometown. I'm not sure exactly the specific town. So
okay.
Dan Gilvezan, fellow voice actor from Transformers, has now written 2 books. Do you have any plans on writing any books?
Good for him. That's really great. So is Greg Berger.
That's what I've heard. Yes. I know a lot of us would love to read an autobiography by Michael Bell. Are there any plans for?
Good God! Do you know how much
I
work
know that'd be a 6-volume set right there.
That's a 6-volume set. Absolutely. No, I'm going to take that easy. I don't think I'll do that just yet. But I have other plans. I have other plans and I have something in mind which I won't go into just yet. But I have plans to do something that I want to work on. I will contact you when the time comes, and I'll gather about 14 or 15 people and work on it.
That's great. Thank you so very much, Mr. Bell. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. You take care.
Thank you. You too.